My name is Nassine Saabs.
Let me ask you a question. Has anything ever happened to you that you couldn't explain? That made you feel sort of foolish when you tried to tell somebody about it? Well, if it has, you have plenty of company, as you'll soon see.
Identified all 6 people on board the medevac jet who were killed. Dr. Raul Meza Redondo, paramedic Rodrigo Lopez Padilla, Captain Alan Alejandro Montoya Perales, and his co-pilot Jose de Jesus Suarez.
Damage from the crash extending over several blocks. And a warning, this vision is confronting.
It hit with such extreme force.
Allahu Akbar!
And this is the crater the downed Medijet left behind. Suburban Philadelphia, a mess of metal spanning more than 4 blocks, a landscape littered with charred debris.
This was a high-impact crash, and the plane is highly fragmented.
Today, investigators sifting through that wreckage, a crucial search for answers.
We are still looking for the cockpit voice recorder. Likely, it is damaged. It may be fragmented.
The Learjet air ambulance spent less than a minute in the air before disaster struck.
An explosion, like an extreme boom, and everything shook.
The man who filmed this was meters away from the crash with his 5-year-old daughter. Today, overcome with emotion, they survived. Local resident Ymir was in the gym as the plane plummeted to the ground. This is what he filmed as he stepped outside.
See a plane on the ground, nothing but chaos. It was devastating. Cars on fire, houses on fire, people screaming.
And here, diners ducking for cover as shrapnel flies in. Air traffic control audio revealing the final time the cockpit made communications.
Runway 24, clear for takeoff.
Mike Tango Sierra 056 medevac. Thank you, good day.
That pilot was Alan Montoya, alongside co-pilot Jesus Juarez. They were flying a young girl who had just received life-saving care from a Philadelphia hospital and her mother home to Mexico. All 6 people on board were killed. A 7th victim was inside a car that was hit.
We have a lot of unknowns.
So now the search for answers.
This was a high-impact crash, and the plane is highly fragmented.
Today, investigators sifting through that wreckage, a crucial search for answers.
We are still looking for the cockpit voice recorder. Likely, it is damaged. It may be fragmented.
Charred debris.
This was a high-impact crash, and the plane is highly fragmented.
You and the president had earlier discussed rules of engagement for taking down a hijacked airplane, but you were the one who gave the direct order to shoot down a plane that you were told, as it turns out incorrectly, was headed for Washington.
Right. That's correct.
What's that moment like?
Well, it was necessary, and it was frankly, I didn't pause to think about it very much.
Because once one of those aircraft was hijacked, it was a weapon. We'd seen already, by that time, 3 of them go in to the Pentagon and the World Trade Center in New York. As a result, thousands died, and if we had been in a position to intercept one of those to keep it from striking its target, would we have done it? Absolutely. And what I did was pass on the President's approval of the basic proposition that we would, in fact, authorize our people to shoot down aircraft that had been hijacked and refused to divert. So I saw it as part of my responsibility, but I did it quickly, because we had a lot of other things we were doing at the same time.
Along with early injected false signatures as altered cockpit recorded messages presumed to be broadcast from Flight 93 provided to the media. This action of spinning the public opinion is part of the pattern of the criminal enterprise, connected by the similar methods by unusual supporting evidence. The hit team that was to record the impact of the fourth plane was likely packed up due to failure to reach its target. But it did start like the others, with a red team hijacking that was transformed into a real threat after it met its weaponized drone near Cleveland Airport, the location of the Lewis Research Center, a NASA facility, and both of these planes likely crashed in Shanksville. The passenger jet exploded in the air, and the drone impacted the ground. The only known image of the impact is from the 9/11 report and shows an explosion instead of burning jet fuel. The first crash site had a small hole and some burnt trees, but no evidence of a 200,000-pound airplane. When Tom Ridge flew over early in the day, the damage of the UAV impact was slight, with no large fires in the woods. There was a smoldering hole. And as news crews started covering the crash site, the hole was shown on the national news services.
Kinnu, he's a photographer with the Pittsburgh affiliate of Fox affiliate. He was back there just a couple of minutes ago, and Chris, I've seen the pictures. It looks like there's nothing there except for a hole in the ground.
Basically, that's right. The only thing you could see from where we were was a big gouge in the earth and some broken trees. We could see some people walking around in the area, but from where we could see, there wasn't much left.
Any large pieces of debris at all?
No, there was nothing that you could distinguish that a plane had crashed there.
Smoke, fire?
Nothing. It was absolutely quiet. It was actually very quiet. Nothing going on down there, no smoke, no fire. Just a couple of people walking around. They looked like part of the NTSB crew walking around looking at the pieces.
How big would you say that hole was?
From my estimates, I would guess it was probably about 20 to 15 feet long, and probably about 10 feet long, or 10 feet wide.
What could you see on the ground, if anything, other than dirt and ash? And
you couldn't see anything. You could just see dirt, ash, and people walking around.
When viewed objectively from a historical perspective, one can see that the events of 9/11 were the classic setup using the Hegelian principle. George Wilhelm Hegel, 1770 to 1831, was a German philosopher who is today considered one of the most influential thinkers in modern times. Hegel's articulation and teaching concerning successive phases in the consciousness and awareness of man is still part of the bedrock of philosophical teaching. Hegel is known for his theorem, thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. A simplified English translation is problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. For hundreds of years, the Illuminati have used the Hegelian process to further their cause. They secretly create a problem, the general population reacts with fear, and the solution is to transfer power to those who originally created the problem. It is effective and diabolical. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution.
Is the plane debris? Where is the debris below the impact zone? It's not there. Where is the aircraft debris in the gashes? You can see into that building 20 feet anyway. There's not one aircraft part identifiable. You can go to airdisaster.com and look at what plane crashes are really like. A Boeing 767 has 3.1 million parts. Where are all the parts? Where are the contents of the plane? The videos that allegedly show the penetration of the South Tower doesn't show a collision or a crash. There's no collision. What there is a glide in, an absorption, a disappearance of the plane image. going.
And the plane is highly fragmented.